Hello and welcome to the lesson. In our previous class, we actually looked at seasons, Earth rotation, and the Earth orbit. Okay. In today's lesson, we shall look at how we have explored space from the ancient time to the present time and how it has helped shaping our society today. And not only that, we shall also be looking at the impact space exploration have on our society and the challenges we may face in the future. Astronomers have always been amazed at what is beyond the sky during ancient times because they could not view beyond the sky or see beyond the sky because of lack of what? Technology. It was not until this time that Hans Lepage built the first telescope, but this telescope were used just for military purposes. It was Galileo Galilei who designed a first telescope and then used it to face the sky. The telescope allows you to zoom objects that are from afar and bring them closer. Okay, now the telescope encouraged scientists to want to know more about space, and eventually they were able to send satellites later. But take note, it was Galileo Galilei who first of all pointed the telescope to the sky and discovered 3 of Jupiter's 4 largest moons. These moons are Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, and Io. Okay. Over time, technology were advanced. Technology became better and better, and both Soviet Union and the United States of America were now trying to, bring out new technology. It was like a competition between them. All right. It was the Soviet Union that first of all made progress. Soviet Union is currently part of Russia, Montenegro, and Serbia today. They were the first to send a man to space, the Soviet Union, and the name of that man is Yuri Gagarin. Okay. And then 8 years later, America made an outstanding achievement under the Apollo mission by sending a man to the moon, and he walked on the moon. So Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. And then as time passed, technology increased and they were able to design probes and rovers that were sent to space. What is a probe? A probe is a shuttle that can fly to space and also pass on a planetary body such as a planet and an asteroid. They give information. Okay, example, we have your Voyager 1 and 2, you have your Sputnik 1, you have the Magellanis space, and then you have your Pathfinder. All those are examples of space probe. Now, space probe are different from rovers. Space rovers, on the other hand, they will go to space and they are not patched. They are able to move on the land or the surface of space. Okay, example of such space rover are the Landmark, and then we have the Apollo, we have the Mercury, and then we have the Mars Opportunity rovers. These objects are like robotic materials or designs that can move on space surfaces or land or celestial surfaces in space. Why do we study or explore space? Major reason we study and explore space is to know more information about our planet. Okay, we have learned that Venus is global warming gone wide, is it not? Yes, that to give us information that if we do not maintain our Earth can become Venus. Okay, it is through space exploration that we have also learned that pollution is going to affect our planet later time. All these gases we are releasing will lead to what we call the greenhouse effect. Okay, our ozone layer will be destroyed, and then the ultraviolet ray will destroy our skin and will destroy our gene. Our gene is what helps us to give birth to young children that look exactly like us. So if our gene is destroyed, we'll be giving birth to children that are not normal. Okay, yeah, so it's very important we stop all this pollution we are polluting in our planet. Do you get it now? Why? Because we have studied space and we have seen how other planets are suffering. We don't want our planet to suffer. Remember, planet Earth is the only planet that we can live in currently now, is it not? Yes. So it's important we maintain our planet and prevent these what? Disasters to happen. That is one of the reasons we explore what? Space. Many of the world countries devote a large what? Amount of the budget towards what? Space travel. Why do they do that? Is to impart what? The Earth. Why do we do that? We have learned about what? Earth through this budget that we are what? Spending money on. Okay? Another thing that space imparts in our society is what? Satellites. Satellites have been able to help us to read weather, give us information about disaster in case, let's say, an asteroid wants to blast. We can be able to overcome that. Not only that, it has made other countries to what? Live together. You see Russia, America coming together to do what? Space, International Space Station. Is it not? Yes. The biggest problem with space exploration is what? Money. Is it not? Yes. It's money. People are angry that we are spending more money on space exploration instead of using it for things like education, health, and food as well. Okay. Not only that, scientists are also speculating that our environment and competition may result in the future. Maybe let's say, for example, our planet is now very hot, and then we discover that we cannot live in Mars. USA and China and Russia can start arguing for planet Mars, who is the owner, okay? And that might lead to serious conflict. I want you to settle down and watch and learn more about how space exploration has improved and the current research or technology that is going on in space exploration. Okay, take note of the different projects.
USSR launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite to circle the Earth. It was about the size of a large beach ball. In November 1957, Sputnik 2 carried the dog Laika, who became one of the first animals to go to space. Sadly, Laika died within few hours of launch due to overheating. A Soviet cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, was the first man to go into space. He orbited the Earth on 12th April 1961. A few weeks later, Alan Shepard, in a 15-minute suborbital flight, became the second person and first American to travel into space. 8 years later, thanks to technological progress, man was able to walk on the moon. On 20th July 1969, US astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first man to step on the moon. He was accompanied by astronauts Edwin E. Aldrin Jr. and Michael Collins. Nowadays, manned spacecrafts stay in space for long periods and conduct useful experiments and carry out repair works of satellites. Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova was the first woman to visit space in the year 1963.
So let's take a quick look at some of the most important space missions, the Titan mission. It was imperative to include this ambitious trip, and it would actually be nice to see NASA focus more on these types of missions, but anyways, the Dragonfly will launch in 2026 and eventually land in 2034 on the remote moon called Titan, which orbits Saturn. So yes, we are finally putting a multicopter on a different body which isn't Earth, and it will explore Titan's diverse environments, which are believed to contain organic compounds which support the basic building blocks of life. The previous Cassini mission provided usable data for a suitable landing site, And if everything goes well, the craft will actually fly more than 100 miles, which is nearly double the distance covered by all the Mars rovers combined. Once again, this will be a very challenging mission to pull off, since Titan has an extreme temperature variant along with higher pressures. But it can reveal very important answers on how life is even formed, and it may actually spark more exploration. We get to number 3, and it's the JUICE mission. The European Space Agency will be launching a Jupiter Ice Moons Explorer in just a few years, and it will arrive at its destination around 2029. It will explore Jupiter and 3 of its moons, which consist of Callisto, Ganymede, and the mysterious Europa. This explorer will study the dynamics of the moons and will hopefully detect signs of subsurface water reservoirs. Ultimately, JUICE will determine the thickness of these ice layers on these moons, and it might even detect organic compounds. Now, to me, I find Europa really interesting, and it kind of reminds me a bit of Pandora's box in the fact that we don't really know what can be contained in its oceans, but it would be pretty amazing if we just even find basic life forms. But actual exploration of this moon is going to take a underwater robotic explorer, and that's not going to happen probably for another decade. We get to a very important mission, and it's number 2, Artemis. It's hard to imagine that nearly half a century has passed since man has last stepped on the moon. Well, we are finally going back, and NASA intends to send people to the moon by 2024. Now, this program will involve the SLS rocket and the Orion spacecraft, which carries a team to the moon and back. Now, astronauts will first land on the lunar South Pole, and this will act a bit of a stepping stone for getting to Mars. Habitats, new tech, and spacecraft will all eventually exist on the moon. And if you combine this vision with the current private space race, then it's only going to be a matter of time until we see the moon as a tourist destination. Let's just hope it doesn't take another 50 years. So yes, I'm going to do something that's really obvious and get to number 1, which is the SpaceX manned mission. And this is also going to be interesting to see if one of the boldest companies in the world will actually reach Mars within 5 years. The Starship and Heavy launch vehicle will be the key to reaching Mars. It will become the company's front-running vehicle for not only reaching the Red Planet, but for also launching cargo into low Earth orbit. It will have a capacity of 100 metric tons, and it will launch with over 72 meganewtons of thrust, which is about twice as much compared to the iconic Saturn V. So it's going to cause massive earthquakes when it takes off. Now, the first mission to Mars is going to involve sending cargo and actually evaluate environmental factors. And then a second mission is targeted for 2024. And this will hopefully involve cargo and crew, which will also be the first steps to building a city on Mars. And I don't know about me, but I'm curious about what you guys think about living on Mars. Would you actually do it, or would you prefer to stay on Earth?
Welcome back from that interesting video. I believe you now understand the space exploration process, how it evolved from the human eyes down to the telescope and to spacecraft and the space probe and rovers. Okay, that now brings us to the end of today's lesson. Remember to do other activities in this lesson. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this.